Okay, this should be the last skill in the green slice. Writing an equation of a line given the y-intercept and another point. So we want to write an equation for the line below, and then they give us this situation that we have here. Let's go back and recall our notes, because the very same notes that we've used some time ago are going to be very helpful here. So let's recall the notes here. Notes about straight lines, except horizontal and vertical, all go by the magic equation y equals mx plus b. Now, we've talked about this before, but let's quickly recall here. The y-intercept, remember, is this number here. Okay, it's out here on the end. It's a constant, and it tells us the location of the point where the line crosses over or intercepts the y-axis. Well, if we go back and look at our ALEKS problem here, I can immediately see that that y-intercept is -3. So I can already begin to plan out the answer that I'm going to write for this particular problem, because since my y-intercept is -3, I can go down here and start planning the ending. I'm going to have y equals mx plus b. In fact, I'll just write that down. Okay. Now, notice here that the b, our y-intercept point, in this case, is -3. So what I'm going to do here is I'm simply going to go over here and write down my y-intercept as a -3. Now, the tricky part of this problem is the slope. Now remember, m stands for slope. Slope is a fraction, which is rise over run. We have to take care of all those details. So back to our problem. Notice here that our line is running downhill as we go across from left to right. Now what I tell people here is go across from left to right until you hit the first dot. The first dot you come to while going from left to right is this one right here. Now notice that this point, our first point, is above our second point. So we're going to have to go from here down in order to get on the same level as this point. And if we do that, we will remember here that when we go down, our slope is negative. As we go from a higher point to a lower point, we will go straight down, and then we'll go to the right to get our second point. So we can see here our slope is going to be a negative number. Back to our graph. Notice that we're going to start here and count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares. We're going to count down 8 squares to get to this point. So our rise is -8. Once again, let's go back and look at our notes. We're going to have a rise of -8, and we're going to then notice that we have a run of 1, 2. The run always goes to the right. So back to our notes, we're going to have -8 over 2 times x minus 3. Doing a little bit of math here, -8 divided by 2 is 4. -4x minus 3, which is the equation that we want to use. Let's go back to ALEKS, give them that. Let's type it all in, y equals. Then we're going to have -4 x minus 3. And let's check and see if that is correct. Yes, it is. Let's do another one here, because this is difficult for many people. Notice once again here we have the situation of writing the equation of the line below. Now always we think about our notes, and our equation is y equals mx plus b. Once again, b is the y-intercept. Now, in our equation over here, or graph rather, we'll notice that our y-intercept is 0. So, as we begin to look at our notes here once again, we can begin to say, just like we did before, y equals mx plus b, but in this case our y-intercept is 0, which means you don't even have to write it at all because adding 0 doesn't change anything. Let's take a look at our slope. Now once again, as we come across the graph from left to right, notice this is the first point that we hit. Always go across the graph left to right, hit your first dot. Now notice that to get from the first dot to the second dot, you're going to have to go down. So this is going to be a negative rise, and it's going to be a negative slope. So starting at our dot, let's count straight down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So our rise is -4. Let's make a note. So we're going to have our rise of -4. We're also going to have to count our run. So go back and count our run from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. So as we go back and look at our notes, we're going to have -4/6x plus 0. Now you can type that in exactly that way and ALEKS will accept it, but it's a little nicer if we go ahead and reduce fractions. So 4/6 reduces to 2/3. Also, it's nice if we put the negative out in front. We'll have y equals -2/3 x plus 0, but adding 0 doesn't change anything. ALEKS will be perfectly happy if you just leave that 0 off altogether. So we will write our answer. We will have y equals a negative. Then we can hit our fraction button here, 2/3, and then x. Y equals -2/3 x, the equation of our line.